Good morning guys, welcome back again to Alan's Allotment. It's the 21st of February 2021. Hope everybody's staying safe, being practical, keeping themselves out of harm's way. And thanks for coming along and checking on the progress. So today is a much better day, thankfully, weather-wise. But we aren't going to get too many good days looking at the forecast, I'm sad to say. So what I'm hoping to do today, I'm aiming for to get this aviary finished off today. The wind is still there, but it's not anywhere near as bad as it was yesterday. And at this moment in time, it's at least dry. So if I can get the two side panels put on this aviary at least, then we'll chest the cocks out into the aviary. We'll go in and give a clean out. And I aim to get as much done today as I possibly can, due to the weather being a little bit better. And if we can and we have time, we'll set up the tripod later on. We'll catch up the hens that we're going to try with these cocks. Sometimes you'll try a hen and it just will not take to the cock no matter what, and you have to replace it with an alternative. And what is also difficult at this time of year is sometimes when the weather's cold, you give the birds a little bit more food. The hens tend to pair themselves up together in the hen shed. Now, I do know that one or two of them have done this, but I don't know which ones, because there are one or two eggs in there on the floor. And that's always a little bit of a chore when you try. Hopefully when we take the birds out and select the birds, we're going to separate the ones that were paired, but we don't know which ones they were. Now that can cause a bit of difficulty, but once they're locked in the box with the cocks, they should soon forget they were paired to the hen and then be more interested with the cock. So we'll just have to see how that one goes, guys. So I'm not going to do too much babbling today. I'm going to have this cup of coffee. I'm going to get out there and get as much done as I possibly can, and we'll bring you along. Stay tuned, guys. I've got a few more jobs done now. Many moons ago I run out of timber for this door here, and I had to put it in two halves, but basically that had rotted. So what I've done now is I've put a lump of 3x2 in here between the two ends of the gate. This is the gate where I come in. Built it up with another block with the offcut, then another block to get my bar back on again, because basically the wind had tore the bar right off this gate. And as you can see, we had to piece it together, this gate, many moons ago. We will eventually, with any offcuts that we have left over, come back and strengthen this gate out. And we've now got one of the aviaries complete. I'm going to plastic coat this one as well, guys. But for today, as you can see, we've got the side panels on now. And of course the side panels are going to stay fixed and permanent in here. And obviously that's a little door that I lift up to slide a bath in there for them. But yeah, really cosy in here now. But at the same time, we're still getting the fresh air. So this is from the inside of the loft now. And we are still getting air coming in underneath the top via the ridges, and then of course we're still getting the air coming up under the floor, and it's just a nice flow of air now. The main thing is it'll stop the rain driving in here and wetting this corridor down, which was a bit damp yesterday. You can just see a bit of a wet patch there. It was nothing bad, but it was enough that it was annoying me. So basically we've sealed that off now, but we can roll that front up in summer, guys. And the birds are positively loving it out here now. And they're actually cooing away in the boxes. They know something's about to happen, I think. So we'll crack on. Go and get a cup of coffee and then we'll crack on, guys. Right guys, the next biggest challenge is after this cup of coffee is to get back in there, and then what we'll do is we'll get all the nest boxes cleaned down. They're not really that bad, but if we get a clean start, ready for pairing the hens up, we'll get the boxes cleaned down. What time are we on now? It's 11:30 at the moment, so it took a little longer than I thought it was going to do. But when you're working single-handedly, the wind's blowing against you and one thing and another, it does take a little bit longer, and that's just the way things are. But the thing is, it's done. That's the aviary all sorted out now, guys. and it's really, really pleasant in that shed now. And I don't know if you noticed on the last bit of footage, but right when I was pointed down to the floor, there is also grills that are cut into the bottom of that shed when we first put it up, and there's a veranda. There's a chamfered piece of plastic over those as well, and basically what happens is the air comes in under those as well and in through the bottom of the loft, so there's plenty of air still getting in that loft, but we're just breaking down the foul winds and driving rain, etc. And that should be quite cosy. Now obviously, as I say, if it does suddenly change and pick up and get hot, wishful thinking on my part, guys, we can roll that front up if we need to let more air in. I don't think that's about to happen anytime soon. However, it is picking up weather-wise. Like I said earlier, I'm off all next week, but the forecast isn't looking too good at the moment. Today is about the best day, I think, and then through the week it's going to just be rain and one thing and another. So what we'll get done we don't know, but we'll need to come up daily and check on the birds. Now when I pair these birds up, the hens will be locked in the opposite side of the box, because many of them will be new hens to new cocks, and I need to dig out all my drinkers and feeders that hook on the inside of the nest boxes for to feed the hens. The cocks can go to the troughs in the mornings, but the thing is, when you pair pigeons up, they eat very little. They're far too interested in pairing together. They don't eat a great deal. But the cocks can be feeding the troughs, or they can even pop their head through the box and feed with the hen inside the little feeders. But we need to get water in there as well. So I have hundreds of these drinkers, but where I've put them, I really don't know. So that's probably going to take longer to find those than it is to do any other job today. Now I am hoping, weather permitting, it stays off, the stays dry, to get in there and get these cleaned out, get them all sorted out, find the drinkers and get them all put on, and then we can start and hopefully pick through the hens and do the video showing you the coloured hens that I have that I'm going to pair to these cocks, or my intentions. Doesn't always go according to plan, guys, but I'll show you what I'm intending to do, and I'm hoping I'm going to get that done today. If not, it may be tomorrow, and we might have to take the camera inside the shed on a tripod and do it at close quarters, but we'll see how we get on. I'll have this cup of coffee and I'll get cracking on again. See you later, guys. Right, guys, so we've got the camera set up. The sun is shining, but it's still blowing a gale, so I've got the door trying to shield the camera, and I've got the wireless microphone on, so hopefully you're going to be able to hear me okay. So what I've decided I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you the birds first, show you each of the colours, and then when I've got them put in the relevant boxes with what we're pairing them with, we'll say why we've done that, and rather than going in here, disappearing in the shed, coming back out, disappearing in the shed, we'll just show you the birds to start off with. Right, guys, so these are the hens that we've selected. Some of the hens we've selected here. So the first pigeon we have here is an Andalusian hen, split for frill stencil. She's an F1, and she's going to be going back to the frill stencil white barred cock. We've got some fantastic youngsters out of them as late breds. They've had a good rest now. All these hens are really, really large. They're a bit too heavy, to be honest with you, so they might be a bit slow going down to lay, but once we get them paired up and settled in the boxes is all I'm worried about. They'll lay when they're ready. So basically here, what we've got here is the Andalusian hen, and she's I'm trying to give you the best angle on this, guy, so there's sunlight. She's an Andalusian hen, and she's the daughter of the white barred frill stencil cock, Lebanese, paired to a racing pigeon, and so she carries the F1 frill stencil gene, guys, and she's going to be going back to that cock again because we've got some fantastic frill stencils out of them. So they're going back in here, guys. just remembered what I said I was going to do, because there's a chance that the birds will escape while I'm doing this as well, guys. So I'll just show you the birds, then we'll get the next batch, we'll show you them, and then we'll show you them when they're all in the boxes, guys. Right, guys, so this is my good almond hen that I bought in a few years ago now. I think she's a 2017 pigeon, and she's like the proper almond nut colour. And when she came, she had two flecks on her, two little black flecks. I was a bit dubious whether she was an almond or not, but as you can see now, guys, she has plenty of flecking in her, all over the face, in the wings, variegated flights. Likewise with the tail. And she's a very, very pretty pigeon. Trying to show you this, but the sun is really playing havoc today. Hopefully it's coming out okay. Right, so we'll put her back in the box and we'll show you the next one. So this one here is the other ice pigeon that I bred last year, and I'm hoping and praying that she is a hen. I'm fairly certain she is. And this is the other ice, guys. Lovely pigeon, as you can see, and she's going to go back to her brother. And the reason for that, I've decided, is the quicker way to get barless ice. She's split for barless, and her brother is split for barless. So I'm hoping we'll put the two together, we'll get some barless ice, which will then be brought on and brought to standard by pairing. I'm doing it again, guys. I'm going in the shed instead of putting them in here. She will be brought on. We'll get pigeons out, we'll get youngsters out of them, we'll get some barless ice, and then we'll bring the size and type up with race birds. Now this one here is an unusual one. I don't think I've showed you any of my indigos yet. Now this may look at first shot to be a blue bar, but it's an indigo, and you can see the bluey tint cast through the flights, and the bars are actually a bronze. With the indigos, what's noticeable is you will see that they have a ribbon tail. I'm trying to get this the best way I can, guys, on the camera. They have this nice lovely ribbon across the tail. Instead of being a black tail bar, it lightens the tail bar, and you can hopefully pick up on the camera here the lovely slaty colouring in this tail along with the ribbon, and that's common with indigos. So yeah, I've bred off this hen before. She breeds magnificent pigeons with that opal cock, and she's going back to him again. We keep birds that we know are good, and we will keep them together. Some of the newer ones will be later. This here, likewise, she is absolutely horrendously fat. Hopefully she'll work it off shortly, guys, but she's massive. Either that, or she feels like she may even be going to lay. She might have paired herself up to a hen in there. This here is also an indigo, but this is an indigo in the check form. On the camera she may look like she's a red pigeon, but she's not. She's a checker, and she's carrying indigo. Again, you'll see the white ribbon tail, very much like the frill stencil, guys, but it's not frill stencil. This is indigo, and when indigo takes and puts a brown cast over checkers, what it does, if you pair it to black with this white strip, it takes the tail bar and washes it over to black and gives you the Andalusian, which is a bird I showed you earlier. What you'll also notice with this pigeon, which you don't see on red pigeons, is she has a grey rump, like a violety grey rump here. On red pigeons, that is cream. She's an indigo, guys. And the last one for now, get in, is a young brown check that I bred myself last year. Well, this is a brown light check hen. I haven't actually decided what she's going to yet, but we will be using it in the breed, because basically what we want to do is we want to get some browns. I want some brown hens, ideally, brown spread hens, to put frill stencil into the brown project, guys. Sorry if I'm babbling on here, because I'm trying to think what I'm going to do at the same time as doing this. Right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put these birds in the relevant nest boxes where I want them, and then I'll come back to you guys. Right guys, we've got the next batch now. So again, I'm going to just show you the birds, then we'll get them put in there, then we'll give you a look around when we finish, guys. So these are the frill stencils. This one's a brown frill stencil, and these are the satinettes. We're going to pair these up to the blondinettes with a bit of luck, and see how we go with this, guys. Oh, doing it again. I'm going back in there instead of just putting them back in. The next one we have is a barless brown, and I only have 2 barless pigeons left now, this barless brown hen and a barless blue cock. So youngsters off these I'll be keeping myself, I'm afraid, certainly the earlier rounds, because I need to get a few back. I didn't realise I was down this low, guys. And of course anything that comes off these, if they turn out blue, they will be split for brown. So in theory we should get blue, brown cocks and the blue hens, but we can get it, you know, we can get different ones, guys. We'll just see how this goes. Nearly done it again, nearly went back in there again. So I did say in an earlier video I was going to pair the Coleman cock back to a Coleman hen, but we sold those. I don't know what I was thinking of. Anyways, there we go. So I'm going to put him to a checker hen this year. This is a racing pigeon. She's a good pigeon. She did race for me, and she also is a good mother. So we're going to put him to this hen today. So the next pigeon we have is a milky check hen. I'm not sure how well this is coming out on the cameras, guys, but this is a milky check hen. The sun keeps popping up and down, and I'm trying to keep it so you can actually see. So this hen is a milky check hen, and she gets paired to the milky blue bar cock. I only have the one milky cock left, and this hen and the daughter from last year I kept as it was a late bred. Someone wanted it, give back word, and I kept it as for stock. So that's a milky check hen, guys. And then we have another frill stencil, guys. This is another satinette. As I say, we want to try and get something out of these cocks before they're too old. And this one is carrying blue and brown. Then last but not least for now, I have a black hen of race type, and we're going to use this black hen with one of the blondinettes, hopefully, and start trying to transfer the frill stencil off the blondinettes, that patterning all over, into the blacks. Right, that's it for now, guys. I'll get these in here in the boxes and we'll give you a look around later. Right guys, so we've got a little bit of a kerfuffle in here. Things don't always go according to plan, as we said, but what we have done is we've got the ice bar cock there, and we've put his sister in there with him, and she's a little bit not sure what to do, but she is starting to show to that cock. Moving across, we put the check end to the Allotment cock, and she's readily accepting that cock. We'll leave them in here like this today, guys, and basically tomorrow we will then put the cocks in the boxes with the hens. That way there'll be less damage. So the next thing we have is the white frill, white toy stencil cock, back with his black hen who's an F1, and they've already produced some toy stencil. We decided we're probably going to need some more blacks of race type, so we have the black race cock with the black race hen. Moving on, we paired the barless blue, or we hope to pair the barless blue to the barless brown hen. And again, she's a bit unsure, never bred off her before, and she is now starting to show to the cock. Moving down, we have the toy stencil white bar original Lebanon we started with, back to the Andalusian hen. I say Andalusian, that's how I pronounce it. Some people pronounce it Andalusian. I think that is the correct pronunciation, but I always call them Andalusian. Then we're moving on down, we've got the milky cock with the milky check hen, for obvious reasons, to produce more milkies. Then I'm trying something new, as Robert suggested. I've got this other white check cock, which I didn't have a mate for, and because we're short on hens, I've decided we'll use the satinette and see what we can get out. Hopefully we'll get frill and toy, and she's brown as well, so that will be a start of the brown into the toy and frill. Moving up, we have the double factor indigo cock, back with his indigo check hen. Moving up to the top, we have the brown spread cock, paired back to the almond hen. These produce really nice almonds, and all the almonds will be cocks. And hopefully we get any brown spreads out, they will be hens to use for the frill stencil project, guys. That's the reasoning behind that. We did get some brown spreads last year and I sold them foolishly, but then I wasn't doing the frill stencil project at that time. So then we have a white bar cock. Sorry, the angle is as good as I can get, and he's paired to the indigo bar hen. They've produced some fantastic colours, and I've kept those together. Moving down, we have one of the blondinette cocks, which is one of the older timers, I think, and we're trying him with a blue and brown carrier frill stencil hen. And that leaves us with an oddity, because we have the other blondinette cock who doesn't seem to know where his box is for whatever reason. And even after all this time of being in here, he still doesn't appear to have himself a box, and yet there's one spare up here. And one here. So I'm not sure why this cock and this cock are sitting where they are and aren't in the box, letting me know which is their box so I can put the relevant hen with them. So we might take these two cocks out of here and close those two boxes off, just to simplify the process, because everything else looks so far to be going okay. So we might close those off and simplify the process, and we will move this cock and this cock, they don't seem to have a box, into this shed when we get it done. But for now we might just put them in the coloured section for now, guys, because they just don't seem to know which is their box. I'll monitor them for 10 minutes and see if they do start identifying if they have got a box. If one of them shows it has a box, we will bring a hen and put it in the box, and hopefully it will then settle to it. Going for a cup of coffee, guys. I'll see you in a minute. Right, guys, like I said, things don't always go according to plan. And I'm a little bit annoyed actually that the satinette and the blondinette don't appear to have a nest box. But I have identified why. It transpires that the barless blue cock has decided he wants 3 nest boxes. And every time they try to go to one of those boxes, the barless cock ousts them out of the box. So that's a real nuisance, and this does happen most years actually. You'll get a raw cock in there that will start to give you problems. Now, I didn't think for 1 minute that it would be the barless cock. He's already bred in his box for 2 seasons, but for some mad unexplained reason he decided he wants 3 nest boxes this year. And I've watched him, just stood in the corridor quietly watching him flying from that box to the top box to the one below, and each time one of those satinettes or blondinettes tried to go up to a box, he came in and chucked them out. So that's really annoying, especially with the frill stencils. Now I've got 2 options here. I can either take the barless cock out and the barless hen and close that box off, and then hopefully the other 2 will go and settle in a box. But they've been getting through out of those boxes for all this time now without me being aware of it. They'll probably be reluctant to go into the boxes anyway. So I think the easier of the 2 methods, and it's annoying and it's going to set me back with the frill stencils, is to take those 2 cocks out, put them in the coloured loft for now till I get this other shed cleaned out, plastic coated, and there's a roof sheet to be fixed as well on the front of that aviary, on the top of that aviary, and then put those 2 cocks plus the other frill stencil cock that we bought in recently in there without race type pigeons, because it appears the race type pigeons bully these blondinettes. The only reason one of them's got a box is because it's on a very low bottom box, and the barless cock is unlikely to want a bottom box, but it has settled itself in a box. So that's really annoying, but it is what it is. And so what I'm going to have to do, I've got all of this year at least, because I won't be selling anything off the blondinettes or satinettes at all this year. So I've got the remainder of the year, so it doesn't matter if the youngsters come late, as long as I get some out of them. Because I do think that 2 of those blondinette cocks, those 2 blondinette cocks, are getting on in the years, and I'm just hoping I can get something out of them. So yeah, it is what it is. I'm going to have this cup of coffee, finish this off. I'm going to go back in, I'm going to take those 2 cocks out and put them into the coloured loft, and then I'm going to close those 2 boxes off to stop that cock from flitting from one box to another, and then hopefully you'll concentrate on pairing up with that brown barless hen. So that's what I'm going to do, and if you get anything else done, guys, I'll bring you along. See you later. Guys, it's now 5 PM and I'm ready to drop. But on a positive note, we've had a really productive day today. We've got the birds all paired up, as you've seen. We've got the loft cleaned out before we put them in there. We've moved those 2 cocks into the coloured loft now, guys. And then I thought I'd make a start and come over here. So what I've done is I've basically temporarily put a pollet up there. It won't stop the hens, they can fly that high, but it's just to see what it's going to look like. We've got a pollet down there, And then we've put a fence up here and created a gate out of a pallet, and we've got the fence up all the way down there. Just the first layer of the tin sheet. I was actually going to build it out of these big strong rugged pallets, and then I changed my mind. One, they're really heavy to hump around on your own, and two, I had those two tins and these 3 bits of tin left, and they were 12 foot. It covered the area just nicely and finished off there as well, guys. More importantly, it saves the pallet for projects. And you can probably see down the bottom here, I've temporarily stood this up. And you're probably thinking they're going to be compost bays. Well, you would be wrong. So what I'm actually thinking of doing is 2 pallets wide, 3 pallets long, 2 pallets wide, 3 pallets long, and turning this into a greenhouse. Now in the garage I found 2 big tarpaulins that I bought several years ago, and they were £50 each, the really good quality ones, and they're 5 metres by 4 metres. And I thought, well, they've been sitting there for 3 or 4 years. It's £100, that was then. I wouldn't like to see the price of them now. They've been sitting there for long enough. What can we do? Now, as you know, every year we're going to have to keep taking the lemon and orange and the peach and nectarines back in there, and then bringing them out to get the maximum amount of sun from here all the way over. But if they're in the greenhouse, once it gets behind the garage, they get nothing. So what I'm thinking of doing is building this 8 foot by 12 foot greenhouse, guys. It's just a thought. I'm not certain whether I'm going to do this yet. And then basically having a bed right up the middle, a permanent bed, and putting all of those trees straight into it. And this will get the sun from first thing in the morning all the way over, and still get it of a night time as well, guys. And it'll save me moving them back and forward, put them in a permanent bed, build a raised bed, fill it, cardboard this, and fill it with good, we maybe dig some of this soil out to fill it, and then fill it up with good quality compost, and then we'll put a bit of horse manure, and then we'll cow manure, and then we'll sit the trees straight into it, and they'll be there permanent, guys. It's just an idea I've got. I don't know whether we will finish that off or not, but we'll see how it goes. So basically, in essence, if we were to roughly, I mean, these are only laid out roughly. The plum tree's obviously got to come out again, guys, but roughly. So that's 1 pallet here, and these 2. So that's the length that it would be. That give you an idea. Sorry, no, it would be 3 pallets. These 3 pallets here up. So another 2 on the end of there, guys. It brings it to about here. But it's 12, it would then be 12 feet. 12 feet by 8 feet wide. Well, slightly over 8 feet, because you've got the thickness of these pallets, which is 4 inches thick. But yeah, you know, give or take, it'll be 8 foot by 12 foot. So it's just an idea I'm toying with. Yes, it will run on a slope, but I am too fussed about that. But because it'll be made out of these and 3x2 timbers, and then covered with the big tarpaulins, it should be really, really, really strong. Anyways, it's just an idea, guys. I haven't made my mind up for certain, but a bit of production and just a couple of ideas I'm playing with in my head at the moment. I'm going for a cup of coffee, guys. I'll see you later. Right, guys, as you can see, it's a bit dark again. We're in the shed, see if we can get a bit more light. Right, we're back in the shed. I'm just putting this kettle on, going to have another cup of coffee, and then I'm going down home. It's now 5:30 by the time I put the tools away. We found the drinkers for the pigeons. They're all on the inside of the nest boxes, and they're all topped up with water for the hens. and tomorrow we'll put the feeders in as well, so they can feed out of a feeder inside the box. But we'll also be locking the cocks in tomorrow, or putting the cocks in the boxes and closing all the boxes off so that everything's contained in nest boxes. But we'll keep an eye on them. We'll put a nest pan in upside down so the hen can get up on top of the nest pan. That stops the cock if he starts driving them at the back of the head, making them bleed. I'm absolutely exhausted, guys, I really am. I'm going to have this cup of coffee and then I'm going home for some food. Wherever you are in the world, please stay safe, be practical and keep yourselves out of harm's way. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one.